In the midst of the whole battle as it was going on, I remember I'd been invited to USC. They'd asked me to come out there at any time and give a talk. And so I thought, well, let's do it. Take advantage of this and bring out some audio-visual aids in the shape of a film. And I thought, this is the way to do it. We'll show Brazil to a bunch of students.
More than 300 students in the late Arthur Knight's film class at the University of Southern California were in the Norris Theater on October 18th when Gilliam appeared for a private, unauthorized screening of Brazil. There was just one small problem. The students had posted announcements all over campus days before.
And we get there, and we got a problem, because the guy who's in charge of the physical plant, the projector, said, we can't show this film, because we got a call from Universal, and we can't do it. And I don't even know if they had a call from Universal, but the thing is, USC Film School is subsidized by the studios. And they don't want to do anything that might jeopardize their subsidy. It's the thing, it's a constant thing. Every time I go out to LA, you realize this is a city living in fear. Everybody is fearful of losing their little bit of the pie. And the guy said, we can't show it. I said, what do you mean you can't show it? I've come here all the way from London, England, in Europe. And this is part of my talk. And so it became a big, no, I'm not going to do this. And so I got onto my lawyer, and he said, can you contact the Universal lawyer and see if we can solve this?
I was there that day, and it was like a political rally from the 60s. For more than an hour, Terry divided his time between taking calls from his lawyer, who was negotiating with Universal's lawyers, and then reporting the conversations back to the delighted students.
I'm down with Arthur Knight on the stage with the students, talking about filmmaking and films, Brazil in particular, and every few minutes I'd be called out to take a phone call. I said, this is, to the students, this is what really filmmaking is about. It's not about camera angles, not about lenses, and not about film stock. It's about this. We spend most of our energy running up and down dealing with people in studios and legal people, and the battle went back and forth, and eventually my lawyer got the Universal lawyer to concede that we could show clips of the film. And so I thought, boom, go to the man who's in charge. Wouldn't have anything to do it. Even then, and by this time, we're saying, it's Germany. We're in Germany. There's 6 million Jews dying down there, and you're doing nothing? They're burning people down there, and you're doing nothing?
But the day wasn't over. That night, Gilliam took his print to the California Institute for the Arts, where he'd also been invited for a show and tell, and this one came off.
So we went up to the projection booth with Terry and got the film, and I was informed at that point that the lawyers only wanted to, they were exchanging words back and forth all afternoon, and the only thing that could be shown was a clip from the film, which I think was referenced as a audio-visual aid, for a classroom. And so with that in mind, I took the film and drove back up to Cal Arts and met with the teacher of the class that we were going to show it for. And Terry arrived about 15 minutes after I got there, maybe a half hour, and we all met and decided to show a film clip, roughly the entire length of the film.
It was like the Black Hole of Calcutta. It was this very small screening room, not enough room. People were piled up. They were in the aisles. They were on desks. They were everywhere. And we showed it. And there were so many, they had to show it again later for the rest of the people. And it was great. It was really, it was for a brief moment, we were part of some kind of revolutionary activity. There was a lot of flag waving and chanting and march, feeling we'd done something.
They couldn't breathe. The air conditioning broke. It was really hot and nasty inside there, so it wasn't really the most ideal situation. But from what I later heard, the quality of the projection and the sound was better than the screening that took place the next day for the critics.
The film got seen by a few more people, and just little by little, this sense that there was a really good or interesting film here that needed help. And despite this embargo on showing the film anywhere, a whole series of clandestine screenings were set up for the LA film critics. And I don't know how many of them there were, but there seemed to be enough for the majority of the critics to have seen the film by the time it came to vote for their awards for the year. And that, to me, was, again, one of the great moments. I mean, everything about this was wondrous, because we were getting away with murder. We were doing things that you're not supposed to be able to do. People were standing up that don't normally stand up. Sid Sheinberg was living in fear that, the floodgates were going to open and artistry and creativity would be allowed loose on the streets of Hollywood.
The last bit of strategy from Terry and Arnon was to show the American version of Brazil to members of the Los Angeles Film Critics Association on the hope that they would rally to the cause. And on Saturday, December 14th, in a back room of the Beverly Hills Gun Club, they did.
It was an odd venue to begin with. I forget where we would traditionally meet, but we had never met in a gun club before. I don't know what the symbolism is or why we ended up there, but there we were in this kind of ante-room to the gun club. It was not, maybe it was an awards room or something. There was no, no gunplay in the vicinity. And I don't know that anyone really, it almost seems to me almost like it was like a popular movement. I don't know that there was any great plan that anybody had really carefully plotted out what was going to happen. But I think there was just a feeling in the group that this was the best film that people had seen. And I think, in general, critics really, one of the drives that drive critics is to try and accomplish something, to bring recognition to good films, to alert audiences to something that's really good, to somehow make a difference. I think, people often think of critics as being negative, but in fact what draws most people to criticism is the desire to spread the good news, to let people know that something of quality is out there. And I think that's what motivated people. People saw the opportunity to really alert the world to the fact that there was this good film and also possibly pressure Universal to bring it out. But again, people are not that naive. I don't think anybody thought it was a sure thing that this was Universal was going to do anything. People just wanted to make a statement that this was a good film, and they couldn't think of a better film in the year.
I was in that meeting too, and remember the brief debate over whether Brazil, which we were told wouldn't be released that year, and never in that form, could be considered for awards. We checked our bylaws and discovered that there was no reason it couldn't. When the day had ended, Brazil had beaten Prizzi's Honor for Best Screenplay by a margin of 2-1. Gilliam won Best Director over Rand's Akira Kurosawa by nearly 3-1. And in a runoff vote for Best Picture, it was Brazil over Prizzi's Honor, 17-6.
In my typical way, I just didn't want to know. I wanted to get a night's sleep, because if we had lost and been completely ignored, it'd be so depressing I wouldn't sleep. And if we'd won something, I don't know. I didn't know, so I went to bed and woke up in the morning, and there was the truth revealed.
Terry, it's Steve. When you hear this, wow, first wow, hold your pants. And LA Critics Circle Award. Best Picture, Brazil. Best Director, Terry Gilliam. Best Screenplay, Brazil. Can you imagine that? I just got a call from Jack Matthews. I know it's about, it's 5 o'clock here, so it's got to be 8 hours difference in 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, but Terry, Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. God damn, I'm going to call on now, but I called you. I can't fucking believe it. Please get to the phone somehow and just at least hear that. Wow, congratulations. I'll call Milchon now. I'll talk to you later, I hope. Bye.
It's so perfect. There is a God. Clearly, there's a God of symmetry somewhere in the world. Irony and symmetry are the two things that seem to have come together.